بوی نیشتمانم شهید بونم بشان ازید ازانم سرم برزال استی ملتی خو که کرنوشم نبرد با دشمنانم بهی و روشی آزادی و باطن دپیوم ری خباتی بیوشانم.
I am Ashtiaq Karim, leader of the Kurdistan independence movement. I deliver this message from the heart of my occupied homeland as the voice of a stateless yet living nation to the awakened conscience of the world. A message not of complaint, but in defense of a historical truth, international justice, and the fundamental right of the Kurdish people, the right to self-determination. Mr. Antonio Guterres, Secretary General of the United Nations. The United Nations, founded in the name of nations, cannot remain indifferent to a century of occupation, systematic oppression, and genocide against the Kurdish people. Silence in the face of a nation's suffering is participation in its continuation. Isn't it time for the United Nations to recognize and support the Kurdish people as one of the largest stateless nations within the framework of the Charter of the Rights of Nations? Mr. Donald Trump, President of the United States of America, in the region's toughest crisis, from the fight against ISIS to standing up to Saddam Hussein, the Islamic Republic of Iran, and Turkey, was the Kurds who stood by your side as loyal and reliable partners. But today, how is it possible that people like Tom Brock, who neither have any understanding of the historical and ethnic realities of the Middle East, nor any concern for justice, and who are openly hostile to the demands of the Kurdish people in Rojava, Kurdistan, are appointed as the United States' political representatives in Syria? And how is it that Brett McGurk, who also opposed the aspirations of the Kurdish people in Bashur, southern Kurdistan, while in Iraq, is still trusted by your foreign policy establishment? These appointments are not only a miscalculation, but also a clear blow to the historic trust between us and the United States. We want to preserve this strategic partnership, both in the path toward overthrowing the Iranian regime and in rebuilding a new Middle East. Mr. Emmanuel Macron, President of the French Republic, your support for the Kurds in Bashur and Rojava, Kurdistan in recent years has been valuable, and we are grateful for it. But remaining silent in the face of the crimes of the Islamic Republic of Iran against the Kurdish people in eastern Kurdistan is an unjust silence. France, as the heir to the revolution, must bravely reconsider its colonial legacy, including Sykes-Picot and Lausanne, agreements that divided our nation among 4 occupying countries. Isn't it time for France, as the heir to the revolution, to reconsider this colonial legacy and support historical justice for the Kurdish people? Hasn't the time come for France to openly and officially support the establishment of an independent Kurdistan state? Mr. Friedrich Merz, Chancellor of Germany, your nation itself was a victim of division and occupation in 2 world wars. It should understand the meaning of statelessness and the absence of political sovereignty more deeply than any other nation. The silence of the German government in the face of historical and contemporary crimes against the Kurdish people from Halabja and Sinjar to Kermanshah, Ilam, Diyarbakir, Kobani, and Kamishli is not only regrettable, but also contradicts the principles of German democracy. We expect your government as the voice of European rationality to support the legitimate demands and human rights of the Kurdish people. Mr. Keir Starmer, Prime Minister of Britain was one of the architects of the bloody borders of the Middle East. The Sykes-Picot Agreement not only fragmented our nation, but also laid the foundation for today's chaos. Your esteemed government was one of the main designers of the artificial borders of the Middle East in the Sykes-Picot Agreement. Borders that to this day have been drawn with the blood of the Kurdish people and other nations of the occupied lands. Today, in the 21st century, the time has come for Britain to accept its historical responsibility and support the independence of Kurdistan as a form of reparation for this colonial legacy. A nation that has stood united with democracy in the east, west, south, and north of Kurdistan deserves your strategic support. NATO leaders, Turkey, as a member of the North Atlantic Treaty Organization, targets Kurdish civilians every day with drones and artillery in Rojava, Bashor, Bakur, and even within the territories of Syria and Iraq. Is NATO supposed to be a guardian of democracy or an ally to governments that commit genocide against the peoples of occupied lands? You cannot speak of Western values while at the same time turning a blind eye to the crimes of your ally. Is NATO guardian democracy or neutral observer state-sponsored genocide? European Union leaders, values such as human rights, justice and freedom will be nothing but empty slogans without real commitment. The Kurds, with a population of over 70 million, are still deprived of the most basic political right, having an independent state. Your silence is a violation of the very principles you claim to defend. Europe's silence in the face of this injustice is in clear contradiction with its professed principles. The Kingdom of Saudi Arabia and the Arab League, do you not see the occupations carried out by the Islamic Republic of Iran, Iraq, Turkey, and Syria against the Kurdish nation? If oppression is condemned in your faith and law, then how can you remain silent in the face of it when it is committed against the Kurds? The Islamic Republic of Iran, with its nuclear ambitions, is a threat to all of you. An alliance with the Kurdish nation is not just a moral obligation, but a necessity for regional security. Mr. Benjamin Netanyahu, Prime Minister of Israel, and the honorable people of Israel, you, more than any other nation, understand the meaning of displacement, lost homeland, and the struggle for survival. We have walked this same path as well. Today, we expect you to openly support the establishment of a Kurdish state. We consider your attacks on the Islamic Republic's terror infrastructure as a step toward the liberation of nations. We are ready to stand alongside the people of Israel to help build a new order in the Middle East. An order without terror, without fundamentalism, and without the Islamic Republic. We can be the greatest strategic ally of Israel and pro-democracy countries in the new Middle East. To all pro-democracy countries of the world, lasting peace in the Middle East without justice for the Kurdish nation is nothing but an illusion. We are a nation with our own history, language, culture, and land The only missing element in our equation is an official and independent state. Support the federalism of southern Kurdistan, the self-administration of Rojava Kurdistan, and the right to self-determination for eastern Kurdistan in the design of the new Middle East. An independent Kurdistan must have a central place. An independent Kurdistan will not be a threat, but rather a guarantor of stability, security, and strategic development in the region. For more than a century, we have been victims of colonial agreements, global silence, and occupying alliances. But we will remain silent no longer. The independence of Kurdistan is not merely a national demand, but a geopolitical necessity and the cornerstone of a peaceful and balanced Middle East. Today, you are standing before a historic test. Stand with the truth, or once again become complicit with occupation and tyranny. We have carefully chosen our path forward. Now, it is truly your turn to decide.
بەناوی ئێرانی، عێراقی، سووری، تورکیەی بوون دەیان هەوێ شناس و ناسنامەی نەتەوەی کوردبوونمان ئینکار بکەن. هیچ کوردێک ئێرانی نییە. کورد خاوەنی شناس و هۆڤیەتێکە بەناوی کوردبوون و کوردستانی بوون. هەر کوردێک یان باشتر بڵێم هەر غەیرە فارسێک خۆی بە ئێرانی پێناسە بکە شناس و هۆڤیەتی خۆی فەرامۆش کردووە. زمانی ئێرانەکان کە فارسیە بۆ کورد و نەتەوە خاکداگیرکراوەکان زمانی سەرکوت و ئیعدام و زیندان و شکەنجە و ترس و وەحشەتە. زمانی زۆرم لی داگیرکەرە کە هۆڤیەتی ئێرانی بوونە، کەواتە خۆپێناسەکردن بە ناوی ئێرانی داگیرکەرەوە شەرمەزاریە بۆ غەیرە فارسێک و جگە لە فارس کەس ئێرانی نییە. ئێران و ئێرانی بوون نوێنەرایەتی یەک نەتەوە دەکا کە ئەویش نەتەوەی فارسە.
نەبی کەری دڵبەر لە قین ڕندی بێویژان و دین نەتوانی واکێ کورد نەبی هەر کورد بووین و هەر کورد ئەبین هەر کورد بووین و هەر کورد ئەبین نە عارەبم نە ئێرانیم نە تورکێکی شەخستەنیم نە کەرمن خۆم نێژوش ئەڵێ کە کوردم و کوردستانیم کە کوردم و کوردستانیم.
خەڵکی تێکۆشەری کوردستان سڵاوتان لێبێ و ئەو کاتەتان باش. هەروەک ئاگادارن سەرنجام شەڕەنگێزەکانی ڕژیمی داگیرکەری ئێرانی داوێنی خۆی گرتەوە و لە ئێستادا ئەو ڕژیمە جگە لەوەی لە ئاستینێ و نەتەوەییدا ڕەوایی و مەشروعیەتی خۆی لەدەستاوە کەوتۆتە بەرهێرشێکی بەربڵاوی ئیسرائیل و ئەوەش دەرفەتێکی زێڕینی و مێژوویی بۆ نەتەوەکەمان لە ڕۆژهەڵاتی کوردستان بە تایبەتی و بۆ باقی نەتەوە خاکداگیرکراوەکانی ناو جۆغرافیای جەعلی و دەستکردی ئێرانی کە 100 ساڵە کەوتونەتە بەرداگیرکاری ئێرانەکان خوڵقاندووە. ئەم دەرفەتەی لە شۆڕشی ژیناوە تا ئێستا بۆ ئازادی نەتەوەکەمان ڕەخساوە ڕەنگە تا سەدان ساڵی تر بەم چەشنە نەڕەخسێتەوە. بۆیە پێویستە کەڵک لەم لاوازی و بێهێزەی دژمن وەرگرین و خۆمان و خاکەکەمان ڕزگار بکەین. پێویستە خەڵکی ڕۆژهەڵاتی کوردستان وەک چۆن هەمیشە لەسەر پێ و زیندوو بوون لەم قۆناغە هەستیار و مێژوویەشدا کە لە بەردەمماندایە بە هەستی نەتەوەیی و نیشتیمانیەوە لە ماوەیەکی زەمەنی نزیکدا ئامادەی ڕاپەڕینێکی گشتی و سەراسەری